Hey, good morning. We're going to take a look at Kodachromium Part 2 today. So hopefully you've already done the calculations. If not, go watch the calculations video first. It's important that you have those calculations done before you get to Part 2, which is what we're taking a look at today. So Part 2, we work with the front side of the lab, which looks a lot like this. Now, again, a quick reminder, we had one done for us. Here is the one that the computer did for us. It's already printed out. Here's how we do it. And we got a wavelength of 391 nanometers. There's that 391 nanometers. The wavelength is right here. It's black, and that's good because if you take a look over here, visible light, what we see, doesn't start until 400 nanometers. 391 is before that, so we wouldn't see it. That would be UV light. So that's good. That's black. We don't actually see it. The next one, though, the one that I did with you during the calculations video, the Part 1 video, that one had a wavelength of, we ended up with 401 nanometers. So for that one, that we went from n equals 6 down to n equals 1. Those were the energy levels we started at. You can see the one the computer did for us was N7 to N1. Well, N6 is going to be just inside of N7. So N7 is the outermost energy level. N6 down to N1. That's what the electron's going to fall. Again, wavelength there was 401 nanometers. What color is that? Well, we take a look at our range of colors over here. 401 fits nicely into violet. So I'm going to use violet to draw this wave. And I want this wave to be just a little bit longer than the wave that's on the page. Now, when I say longer, I don't mean from start to finish. I mean from wavelength to wavelength. So there we go. There's my violet light. The wavelength here was 401 nanometers, and that's the calculation that we made, and that's violet, which we can see because we used the appropriate color, violet light. All right, fantastic. The next calculation that you should have done on your own was probably n equals 5 down to n equals 1. So for that one, you'll come inside one more time and have the electron fall from that 5th energy level, that 5th ring. So that's the first part of what you're doing. The next part comes down here to the emission and absorption spectrum. So you got to kind of think about what these are. Let's start with the emission spectrum since it's on top. Is this going to be mostly black with a couple colorful lines, or mostly colorful with a couple of black lines? Hopefully we're all saying the same thing. This is mostly black with a couple of colorful lines. An emission spectrum is what the atom emits. I would advise you to, again, do all your math first, figure out the colors that those wavelengths will have first. I've only got one so far, and that's my purple light at 401. I'm going to go ahead and draw that purple band on here. So there's the purple light. Again, if I were you, I would draw all my lines first. So you're going to have another one around here, another one around here, another one around here. But since I only did one calculation with you, I've only got one to work with. I'll go ahead and color in around it all black. Because remember, most colors don't get emitted from the atom. Most colors were never absorbed, so they never get emitted. So it's going to be mostly black with a couple of colorful lines. There you see one line there to begin with. All right, next up we have the absorption spectrum. And this is going to be the exact opposite, mostly colorful, but with a couple of black lines, because this is where the atom absorbed these colors. So 401, that's the missing line. Surrounding it, I've got purple this time. These are the purples that escaped, went right through the atom and were not absorbed. Now, how far out do I go on 400? Well, I'm going to go to 440. How do we know that? Again, we take a look up here. That's the range of color, 440. So we'll call that right about in there. So we'll color out to that with purple. And at 440, what color do we start there? Well, after violet is blue. So blue starts at 440. So I'm going to grab myself a blue, start shading in at 440 is blue. Now I'm not going to go very far because there should be another black line coming up, and I don't want to accidentally color over that. So I'm just going to show you again. There's that transition from purple to blue, from violet to blue. And again, you're going to have another black line somewhere in there, so I won't color much, but you're going to continue with the entire colorful spectrum down here on the absorption spectrum. All right, so that's how you finish up this lab. You're going to, again, you're going to have an electron coming off from, or a wavelength coming off from electrons falling from each energy level down to 1, and then you'll draw the emission and the absorption spectrum down here. All right, hope you enjoy this lab, and there it is. Have a good one.